This past weekend, I went to the Vancouver Pride Parade. Now I know, pride isn't for everyone, but it does signify that we have the right and freedom in Canada to be openly gay, something that a lot of countries in the world still don't allow, and a few even kill gays, throwing them off buildings or hanging them. I took my friend James Campbell. He's gay and conservative, and he actually gets more flack for being conservative than being gay, as he once described in a Rebel blog post. You may remember that Vancouver's Pride Parade made headlines when the activist group Black Lives Matter demanded the Vancouver Police Department, or VPD as locals call them, stay out of the parade. The Vancouver Police Department was able to march in the parade, but they did choose to keep their military vehicle out. Well, James disagreed strongly with the tactics of Black Lives Matter. So he wore a shirt that said All Lives Matter and took to the street to ask fellow Pride paraders what they thought about Black Lives Matter attempting to have the police banned from marching in the parade.
I feel personally, I come from White Rock. I have no problem with the police. I'm so for feeling safe.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter demanding that the police remove their float from the parade?
You know what? America has a big problem with what's going on in the States. Okay. I don't think we do.
Yeah,
you know, our police are a part. We're a multicultural country. I think the police respect us, and Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. To me, that's
all lives matter.
There you go. See, the shirt says it myself.
Did you hear about Black Lives Matter shutting down the Pride in Toronto?
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
You know, I did hear about that, and what I think about that, you know, I can't really say because I wasn't there. What I do know is that as a Black woman, I wanted to be here to support my gay friends, my police officers who protect me in the community, regardless of all that other stuff that's going on.
So there's been a lot of controversy around Black Lives Matter closing down the Toronto Pride Parade. What are your thoughts on that?
They were the ones regarding the police, were they? Well, I think that they're not being fair to the police because a lot of the police not only have been doing this for years, there's also gay people in the police too, gay and lesbian people, so why would they discriminate against them? And a lot of them like to do the shows, so they come out themselves and volunteer a lot of their time as well.
Yeah. So you would say you identify more with the phrase all lives matter than Black Lives Matter?
All lives matter. All races, all sexual orientation, all people matter. And when one group tries to kind of dominate another group, that still goes back to being a problem, right? They're trying to dominate. So
yes.
I just wish everybody would get along.
It's great to see everyone here, right? It's all about inclusiveness. So,
what do you think about Black Lives Matter demanding that they remove the police float from the parade this year?
I think it's the wrong way to approach the thing. I think everyone together is the theme, right? It's participation rather than non-participation is the right way to go, right? Coming together is what's going to solve our problems, not moving apart.
Yeah, and like to symbolize the fact that like maybe like 50 years ago the police would have given like the gay community problems, and now they're marching in their parade. That's a lot of progress, and that's one of the things we're celebrating.
Well, I mean, it's been a hot issue down in the States lately, so I can understand where they're coming from, but in terms of just the parade and the unity, it worked out.
I don't think it's as contentious here as it is there.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much of an issue in Canada. The police here were pretty open in talking with them and meeting, you know, what their demands were, so I think it worked out pretty good.
It's not very inclusive.
Yeah.
The Pride Parade is meant for everybody to be involved. Police do a huge part for the gay community. They help us with our safety. They help us with making sure that the youth in the community is taken care of without having any problems coming from outlying areas.
You know, my experiences with the VPD have always been very positive. If there are circumstances or reports of you know, ethnic mistreatment by the VPD, I'd like to hear about them, and then, you know, then I think the topic could be open for discussion. You know, so in the absence of that, I don't know that it's fair to punish the VPD for what other police departments and other jurisdictions are doing.
In Vancouver, it's a bit of a different animal because I think the VPD has had a pretty positive relationship with all sort of minority and sort of social groups that have tried to encourage change in the city. So I think it was a little unrealistic of them in this particular context to ask for the VPD to stay out. And I'm glad they didn't. You know, I'm glad they took their military vehicle out. That's something. That's a nice gesture of solidarity. But staying in, I think that was important as well.
It was hard to find people against the Vancouver Police Department, which really is a testament to how far things have come. But Black Lives Matter, they're a persistent group, and to try to keep everyone happy, Pride organizers allowed the group to lead the Dyke March the previous day. So we went, and James found the people at the Dyke March way less willing to agree that all lives matter. I mean, just look at these two women in their uniform shirts, not even wanting to go near the topic.
Would you say you identify more with the phrase all lives matter or Black Lives Matter?
I believe all lives matter.
Black Lives Matter is definitely the phrase for today. I mean, it's obvious that all lives matter, and that's why they have to say Black Lives Matter, because for far too long people believe that they don't. So yeah, I'm very excited that they're leading the march today.
What do you think about their demands to have the police removed from the parade? Do you agree with that?
I don't really have an opinion on that.
I see. So, but do you believe it's important that the police have a presence at parades, particularly as security for in consideration for what happened in Orlando and other events?
If you know your queer history, the police as an institution are not our friends. So there are individual police officers that I know and love, but as an institution, they are not our friends.
But those two women and many others were actually on Black Lives Matter's side.
Black Lives Matter, I think, is an important organization, and they have an important message, and I think it's important to remember like the roots of Pride as well as sort of resistance to police and as a protest organization, and I think it's important for us to remember that's part of who we are, part of what's...
Since Orlando, don't you think it's slightly insensitive to expect the police to drop out of a Pride march?
I don't. I think the police have a role to play, but I also believe that the number of members of our community who still feel antagonized and don't feel safe addressing the police and means that we have to sort of make that our community feel safe first and then figure out everyone else after.
Would you say that the police in Canada are racist?
Yeah, I think we see less of the brutality that happens in the States because we have a smaller population, but I think recent events in Toronto and other places demonstrate that there still are problems.
Do you identify more with the phrase Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter?
No, with Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives
Yeah.
Yeah, all lives matter is ridiculous. No.
Yeah.
No.
Why do you think it's ridiculous?
Well, it's like walking into like a breast cancer clinic and saying, yeah, but testicular cancer matters. It makes no sense at all.
I think the Pride Society really did listen to our concerns, and we're really happy about the ways in which the conversation went, and removing the armored vehicle to us was a success, and that was very much thanks to the Pride Society and the conversations that they had, and yeah, we're really appreciative of the work that they did to come to that final agreement.
Great, and do you think that the VPD are a racist group?
No. We'd love to see more accountability around how they treat certain communities, so Indigenous communities, homeless communities, sex workers, trans communities, all people of color. The way that the police is structured, both in Vancouver and across the world, is such that it privileges certain people and oppresses others. So every police force needs to be vigilant and accountable for their actions and work in ways to support all kinds of communities.
I will say though, it was really funny watching Mayor Gregor Robertson answer James' question, all while staying politically correct.
Well, I think it's a lot of conversation between VPD and the Pride Society, Black Lives Matter, lots of dialogue, and I think it's ended up at a good place. VPD's been part of the march in a very peaceful way to demonstrate their commitment to ending homophobia, transphobia, being really focused on that as a police department, and I think they've definitely scaled back the equipment that they're bringing in the parade. They'll be walking in the parade, which I think is appropriate.
I have to agree with James and the other Pride paraders. This event wasn't about the Black Lives Matter protest or the color of your skin. It's about being LGBT and proud of it. So when Black Lives Matter makes a demand to remove the police presence, it's nothing more than an attention-seeking and grandstanding group with nothing better to do. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.